Hello everyone, I'm Chris Yi.
And I'm Wendy Yi.
And this is a review here from the Dice Tower. This time we're taking a look at Ziggurat.
This is a legacy game by Rob Daviau and Matt Leacock,
who we consider kind of the grandfathers of the legacy game idea. If you're not familiar with what that means, it's a game that you play over multiple chapters and play multiple sessions of it, and there are going to be some permanent changes and some exciting story growth and things that'll happen with it. But you will be writing on components, stickering things even.
Yeah, so it's a campaign game plus. So there's a little bit more to that. Now, we don't want to spoil everything. Obviously, we've played it all, but we don't want to spoil all that. I'm going to give you an overview of just the first scenario and talk a little bit about legacy concepts, but I'm not going to show you anything in the future chapters.
Let's cut to it.
For this overview of Ziggurat, I'm just going to be talking about the very first scenario. So in this scenario, players are going to be playing kind of a chutes and ladders style cooperative game. So if you look at the edge of this board, there are going to be ladders. If your character ever ends at the bottom of a ladder, it will automatically climb up. If your character ever ends at the top of a slide, it will slide down. So our goal of the game is to actually make it to the very top of the Ziggurat, because as young explorers, we are trying to figure out what's going on with the Ziggurat because it's woken up and these fire spirits have appeared. And so players are going to be having cards in front of them. Everyone just has a single card in front of them. And then that card is going to show what the heroes will do to move, and then finally what the fire spirits will do to move. So for example, this one says move your hero 2 spaces. So if I move my hero 2 spaces, 1, 2, I would climb up this ladder, which automatically happens. And then that would be my basic turn. I would then move each yellow fire spirit 2. And so I'd move this fire spirit 1, 2. I'd drop it in a hole and it would be gone for the rest of the game, protecting us from that particular yellow fire spirit. Now, there are various and sundry cards. So there are ones that move just your heroes. There's also ones that move each hero. And there are ones that move any hero, so you get to make that choice. So like I said, this game, players are just trying to make it to the top of the Ziggurat. They can never cross a fire spirit. They can never land on the same space as a fire spirit. And if fire spirit happens to move past them, they will get singed and the game will have to be restarted. Now I want to take one more moment to just talk about the legacy side and show off a little bit of how they set up the legacy thing. So everything that you need is in this storybook. So you read the basic rules, and then you open this up and you're going to read the beginning of chapter 1. And this will tell you your goal for the game, who's the starting player, the story behind what you're doing and how the Ziggurat works. Once you're finished with that first game, then you would open the next chapter at the end, and then at the beginning of each game you'll have another one of these little chapter books that you can open, and they contain any pieces that you need inside of them directly, so that there's not a lot of extra side stuff. It all is contained in this book, so that's all the legacy stuff right there. First off, I think for me, I was really excited about Rob Daviau and Matt Leacock. That was something that brought me to this game. And then after playing the first scenario, I was like, okay, I get this. This is mole rats in space. This is like pretty basic. And I was concerned that our daughter would not be invested 6 games long. I was concerned that once we finally did introduce it to her, because I played with a bunch of adults a couple times, just that first basic scenario, that I thought, oh no, like what if she doesn't latch onto this and she doesn't get that first great legacy experience that I want her to have.
Because that's kind of the appeal of this, is that this is from a company, Mindware Games, that tends to do a lot more like younger kids think, puzzles,
right?
Things that are kind of like, ooh, like good for your brain type stuff. So introducing a legacy campaign, hey, you're going to be playing this same core game for several games in a row, at least 6 and up to more. If you fail, you have to play the session again. And so yeah, that first scenario, I wouldn't judge the next 5 based on the first. It's going to be the simplest, the most basic of introductions for it, and then it does build off of that.
And so I have to say that I was happily surprised that it does go places and our daughter was invested. So I think that's important to say at the beginning of this review, because I do think that this is what they meant it to be. They meant this to be a family weight, kid weight legacy game where kids can play, and that introductory scenario is to get all those basic rules and those basic concepts because they're only going to grow from there. And so I think they did a really good job with that. And that was the one thing that I was a little bit concerned about because I played that first scenario so many times.
And you played it with adults because we did a sponsored live play on the channel. And you can watch that first scenario being played by 4 grown-ups. That's not the target audience way to play this game.
Yeah, and at Gen Con, I played it with a bunch of kids. And even then, the kids were like, oh, okay. But, like, I think it really is once you get to those second and third scenarios that you're like, okay, we're invested in this. And that's one thing that I feel like Rob Daviau and Matt Leacock are very good at is giving you story, but not giving you tons of text to read. I mean, in just a couple paragraphs, you have enough story to make you excited about the next game, to make you excited about what you're exploring and doing without it being like, okay, now let's read for another 3 to 5 minutes and just like read.
For me, that's a sweet spot with these types of games, campaigns, especially Legacy, where is most of the time on the table playing the game and then with short little bookends of, draw the story card or open the storybook, kind of set up the scenario, kind of set up the tease for the next chapter. I want to play that. I mean, going back to a point really quick, I might say on your first time playing, perhaps go to chapter, at the end of your first game, pop open chapter 2 to kind of hook your kids, your audience into what the next chapter is going to be, then close it and say, we'll come back to this next family game night or something, right?
In fact, that's what the company had us do at the live play because they said that's a very good thing to do.
Yeah, and because of that, and because the fact that it's not a lot of reading, the story is not pages long or anything, it is something that you can do and just bookend your most of the time on the table being playing. And I like that. That's a very good thing that these designers tend to do, and especially important when your target audience is younger.
One thing, too, on that, the storybook is all contained, which I mentioned in the overview. But I love that. So as you're opening up the new scenario, you're getting introduced to those pieces immediately. You're getting introduced to those stickers, the rules, all that immediately. It's so contained. And I think that for a legacy game, that's great because oftentimes in a legacy game, you have like your cards and then you have your other dossiers and you have whatever. Like I like that it's all together in one thing, but also because this is for kids, kids can open it up. They can read. They can put the stickers on the rule book. Like they can be so in control and it's not, oh no, I have this huge deck of cards I need to fiddle with and like not get in the wrong order and not mess up.
Yes.
So they really knew their audience in this game.
Production's good. I like that the pieces come pre-assembled because they have, honestly, like of some very particulars to them, and the plastic pieces are already attached. So in case that wasn't made clear, you don't have to do the assembly required part. But now into
you have to build it. The pyramid.
You stack it up. Yeah, I can do that. But the core loop of the gameplay, right? Very, very simple. As we said, that first game of what you've seen in the overview, everyone's cards are face up and there's no real twists to it.
Am I going left? Am I going right? 1, 2, or 3 spaces, depending. Yeah.
And if you don't table talk and cooperate well enough, you will get burnt.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And it happened to us because you have to say, okay, your card is going to make us move 2 spaces, but this one's going to happen first, which makes everyone move 3 steps. And then on my turn, I can move any hero. So if I move you, then you have to move 3, then you move 2 on your own. You know what I mean? Like there's some real planning to make sure that you don't send someone directly into the fire or into a pit. And that's nice. Or
you keep going back and forth between a ladder and a slide in a circle if you don't plan on who's going to move who when. So I think, yeah, the cooperative is the right level of cooperative. I think it's geared for the right age. And I know you wanted to talk about the hidden lore cards, Chris.
Yeah. So if you are struggling, if you lose 2 chapters in a row, or if you lose the same chapter 2 games in a row, there's a small little pack of bonus cards. I didn't say that they were cards. There's cards in here.
They're cards.
What do they do, right? So if you lose it, you open it twice. You have some little boost to work with, and this is a very clean, very simple system. If you're struggling with it, if you keep getting singed and burned and stuff by the fire spirits, or you keep dropping into the holes in the pyramid, there's a little way to kind of make it easier, but not too easy. You still have to earn your wins, and then it kind of it scales a little bit well based on whether you're winning a lot or whether you're losing.
Now, with that in mind of the idea of winning and losing, I do feel like the deck is dependent on the shuffle. So there are definitely games that we played that were significantly harder because a ton more fire spirits came out and we weren't able to get rid of them through those nice little pits. And then there were other games where it had us moving a whole bunch of fire spirits that weren't on the board anymore because we got rid of them all and it was just smooth sailing. So I think that the shuffle does matter. And there can be some of those frustrating games. The nice thing is these games aren't very long. So you can just reset and maybe eventually you'll earn some cool cards or something that can help make it easier.
I really like where the game goes as the chapters continue, and we're not going to spoil what they are. They're little moments, but as parents that this game is more geared towards our daughter having a great time with the family. Mm-hmm. I still had fun. I still had to plan strategically at times and be like, wait, oh, no, we can't do that because this thing, right? Or, oh, no, I drew this card that has this like really nasty surprise for just the wrong moment. Everyone, how do we plan and work around this? And I didn't solve every puzzle. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It wasn't just us. And I think that's a good level of strategy skill required and also flexibility required.
I think it is. So overall, I'm going to give this an 8.5. I think this is a solid kids family weight game. And I think that not even solid. I think this is an excellent, I think that's the word I would use. It's an excellent family weight legacy game. I think it's very cool that this is for this audience so that kids can have those first experiences of legacy style games. I also think it's great even for families to want to play a game that has a little bit more rules to it, but it starts you very simple and it grows you very organically, the way that you should be learning how to play a game.
And I think to echo that, and the score rating wise, I'd also give this one 8.5. I think to echo your point, it's not just because it is good for kids, but also if you are someone who has heard about like bigger campaign games and you're a little intimidated by how much upkeep is it going to be to do all of that, this is a great way to introduce you as the person in charge of keeping track of everything. As the 6 games go on, you have more rules to keep track of. Oh, remember, this one's different from last game, and it's not overwhelming. So this is a good introduction to legacy games for you running it, as well as for the whole family. And I think that's great. The other thing is that while it's built on a familiar chutes and ladders type of a basis, I think that it does enough other things where the chapters are replayable. You play through the campaign once, and that's not it. They have little QR codes throughout the chapter book, the storybook. You can rescan it, and it'll, if you have more rules thrown in there as it goes on. What was it like to just play chapter 3? I don't remember. Well, you can scan a little QR code, and it'll take you to a web page with just those rules. So you can replay any of the chapters. There's also at the end of the campaign, it tells you how you can, play again, kind of a thing. You play more with it. So it's not just, did we play it 6 times? I guess it's time for this to go in the garbage. If this is like your main family game, you can also get some more plays out of that. And I think that's neat. Which
I think is good because I know a lot of families want to get the most bang out of their buck.
Right. And this is not going to be a cheap family game.
It's not. But it is, you get more than just the 6 plays out of it, even if you win every single scenario. So I think that's very cool.
Yep. So I think this is great at doing exactly that. That's why we give it with our score here, a seal of excellence from us here at the Dice Tower.
Well, thanks for joining us today. I'm Wendy Yi.
And I'm Chris Yi.
And hopefully you have fun playing with your families.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Bassel.